Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Ready for GRE class. You are signed up for 12 sessions of the most fun you are ever going to have studying standardized tests in your entire life. So thank you very much for signing up. Congratulations to all of you for signing up for Ready for, and welcome. My name is Eric Maltzer. I am going to be your instructor these next 12 sessions, so hope you are ready and excited and looking forward to studying, to working hard, to learning everything there is to know about the GRE. I want to know a little bit more about you. It looks like we have 5 of you here, and we have a few more joining a little bit later today, and then a couple more joining next time. But hello to Andrea, hello to Crystal, hello to Jin, hello to, looks like Silvani, and hello to Whitney. Welcome to the Ready for GRE class. A little bit about me. I am here in front of you because the founder of Ready for, Elad Shushan, was a classmate of mine at MIT when we were both doing our MBAs there. He has gone on to found this company. It is the fastest growing test prep company in the world. More than 1 million people have downloaded the app. People use it in China. It's the #1 test prep app in China, and it is growing rapidly here in the United States. So it's very exciting. And Elad has moved into live classes, and he knew that I did this and that I scored very well on my GMAT and my GRE and my LSAT and everything else, and so he asked me to teach, and I said I can't resist. I can't resist teaching standardized tests. It's literally my favorite thing to do in the world. I have taken 22 different standardized tests. I've taken the PSAT, the ACT, the SAT, 7 APs, 4 SAT2s, the LSAT, the GRE, obviously, the GMAT, the CFA, the Foreign Service Officer exam, the CAIA, a bunch of others. So 99th percentile every single test, every single time. But I didn't grow up this way. I wasn't born knowing how to do this stuff. I just had some teachers who encouraged me to do it when I was in middle school. And by the time I got to high school and started taking these things, I really, really, really enjoyed them. And I've been teaching standardized tests for 7 years. So I've been doing it on and off while I've been doing many other things. I was at the State Department for 4 years, and I did this at night. And then I did it after I graduated from MIT while I was at a venture capital fund. I did this at night, and now I have my own business, and I still do it. So I have taught more than 700 students, GRE, LSAT, GMAT, and every single one except for, I think the counter is at 17 now, but all of them except for 17 have scored in the top 15% of test takers. So if you're my student, I expect you to score extremely, extremely high. That's just non-negotiable. So most of my students score in the top 10%, but almost everybody scores in the top 15%. A couple other things. So I went to Yale undergrad, I went to Oxford, studied abroad, went to Harvard for my master's in public policy, and I got an MBA at MIT, so I made good use of all my standardized tests, and I cannot afford any more graduate school. I've been forbidden by both my girlfriend and everyone else in my life from going to more schooling. I'm done. So I'm very happy. I have an impact investing consulting business now, and we do very well. And I'm making use of all those fancy, fancy degrees. So now I want you to get a fancy degree wherever you want to go. But first, I want to know a little bit about you. So tell me, I'm going to open up a poll to see if this works. Tell me, are you going to use the GRE for, tell me if you're going to use it for business school or not. So if you are using the GRE for business school, click yes. If not, click no. So let me open the poll and just test out this poll here. You are all real students. You're all going to go to an actual graduate school. I'm very proud of you. So I know I'm teaching very, very smart kids. Well, go ahead, if you can find the chat box in your screen, or on your control panel on the right side of your screen, type in the kind of graduate school that you would like to go to. So go ahead and type that in the message box. I just want to know a little bit about where you want to use the GRE to go. Jin says she wants to go to a statistics program, which is excellent. Very, very useful thing. If you are a data scientist, expert at statistics, you can do some really great things. Andrea says she's going to use a speech and language pathology second master's. Excellent. Very cool. There's a lot of people have, you know, for a lot of reasons, have a lot of trouble articulating and using, you know, pronouncing their words correctly. So speech and language pathology, wonderful thing. Sobani says a PhD in population health. Excellent. I don't know what that is, but I assume that people will be more healthy if you get that PhD. So great job, Sobani. Another PhD for clinical psychology. Very impressive. From Crystal. And Whitney, physical therapy. I assume that's a master's. Excellent. Very, very good. Good. Well, those are all great programs, and especially for the for the mathier ones. If you're looking at a PhD in statistics or population, you're going to need to do well on the GRE math. So the good news is that every single person applying to your program has to go, has to jump over this hurdle. So you have to do just what everyone else has to do. The bad news is you have to do the work to do this. There's no way around taking a standardized test to get into the programs that you guys want to go into. So I have taught for 4 different test prep programs. I really like the Ready For program for a lot of reasons. You can use it on your iPad, you can use it on your iPhone, you can use it on the web, you get a little live instruction. So it really is a good mix of things. And if you miss a lesson, you can always catch up on, I think they post the lessons on YouTube, but really try to be here live, because what we're going to do live is we're going to go through real questions, and I'm going to ask you questions in real time, and I'm going to respond to you in real time. So it's not exactly like being in the same room with me, but it's going to be close. So I want you to use that text box, that same box you use to type in which graduate program you want to go to. Use that to ask any question at any time, and I will answer any question of any sort at any time. I have gone to 4 different alma maters, and I've applied and got into business school 4 times, and I've taken all these tests for, you know, mostly as a hobby, but also because I thought it would be helpful for my life. And the least I can do is pass all that knowledge forward. As I was saying, I've taught for a bunch of different test prep organizations. I think what you're going to get from Ready For is the very best of any of those test prep companies. I'm going to teach you every single thing I know that I use to get 99th percentile on this test and all the other tests, and I think it'll be fun. We're gonna have some fun. Now, before I dive into the math, we're going to start with the math. I want to say a couple things about the test as a whole. So, especially today, but most of the class, we're going to focus on content. We're going to focus on, the stuff that's in the GRE. We're going to teach you geometry. We're going to teach you algebra and arithmetic and number theory, and in the sentence correction and the verbal part, we're going to teach you, different reading comprehension strategies and different ways of parsing fill-in-the-blank questions. But it's not really a test of content, and that's what most of the test prep companies won't tell you. It's a test of poise, it's a test of stamina, and it's a test of creativity. That's what every single standardized test is at its heart. This is trying to see if you can keep your stuff together when you're under some artificial time pressure, because the GRE will give you, sometimes 2 minutes, sometimes substantially less than 2 minutes, sometimes 1.5 minutes or 1:20 seconds or less, to do a question that most people could solve in 3 minutes. That's not the test. The test is, can you do it in 1.5 minutes? Can you do it in 1:20 seconds when you have to? So staying poised is a really key part of the test. The second thing it's testing is stamina. So much like, getting online and watching this course from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the East Coast or wherever you are, staying with it for 2 hours at a time. When you're on the GRE, you're going to have to, stay taking those questions for about 4 hours. That's tough. You don't have to do very many things for 4 hours straight in modern life. But that is the test. And being able to pay attention in that 4th hour, that's what separates a 95th percentile test taker from an 85th percentile test taker. And then the last thing is a test of creativity. And that's weird, right? You don't think of standardized test taking as something that tests how creative you are. But it totally is, because they are going to ask you questions that some of them will seem easy and will have an answer choice that sounds correct or that seems right. If you pick the answer choice that sounds correct and you don't have a process to get to that answer choice, if you just pick it because your gut tells you that that's probably the good one, you have abandoned any sense of logical reasoning, and you are now taking a test with your stomach, which your stomach is good for digestion and sometimes for romantic feelings, go with your gut, but it's really bad on standardized tests. It's terrible. Really, I know you have a beautiful stomach, but it's really bad. You should not take a test based on your gut. If you're choosing an answer because it sounds right, you're dead meat. Don't do it. If you hear yourself say, oh, that sounds right, or I think that's right, stop, back up, and start using logic. Because every time you're choosing an answer because it sounds right or it seems right, you're in trouble. The test makers know that you're choosing answers because they sound right. And they have engineered wrong answers to sound correct. So I'm going to teach you the process by which I get almost all the answers right every time, and I don't have to rely on my gut or my intuition, because I have a very sensitive gut. Just, it's gluten intolerant, and anyway, so you just don't want to do anything standardized testy based on your gut. Okay. Any questions before we begin on the sort of structure of the test or what we're going to teach? Oh, and hello, Callie. We have a new person. Hello, Callie. Okay. No questions. Okay. Can you guys see this is, no, that's not it. Can you see ready for GRE Quant video lesson arithmetic 1? Can you guys see that? Just type in yes if you can see it. Okay, thanks guys. All right, here we go. Let's get going. Let's learn some arithmetic. Okay. This is the foundation of your GRE Quant section. It's arithmetic and algebra. You've got to know those two things. You're not going to need to know very much stuff. It's not a test. Like I said, it's not a test of content. It's not, do you remember the quadratic formula exactly? You don't need to know that. But you do need to know a few things pretty well. And these are those things. So decimals and digits, PEMDAS, exponents, and roots. Learning objectives, we're going to do these several things: identifying place values and digits, while perfecting your rounding skills, order of operations, what are those operations, roots and exponents, and using roots and exponents in equations. Okay, let's do the first thing here, identifying place values and digits. Okay, there's one main thing when we're talking digits. That main thing is, let's see if I can just use my pen here on the screen. Do the blue pen. Excellent. This puppy here. This one right here. The digit to the left of the decimal point. There's your decimal point. The digit to the left is called the units digit. The units digit, that's the one they're going to test you on all the time. So know that the units digit is the digit directly to the left of the decimal point. Okay? This is the tenths digit. This is the hundredths digit. This is the thousandths digit. This is the tens digit. This is the hundredths digit. And this is the thousands digit. So there you go. The units digit, that's going to be the one most often that they're going to refer to and expect you to know. Okay. Okay, rounding. What is rounding? Rounding is when you have a big number and it's very, very, very specific and you want to just get the gist of it. So how do you round 9,365.47 to the nearest units digit? Well, you take the digit to the right of the digit that they're telling you to round to. So in this case, the units digit, you look at the tenths digit, and if it's 5 or higher, then you round up. And if it's 4 or lower, you round down. So in this case, is it 5 or higher? No. It's 4. So you round down to 9,365. That's how you do it. Okay, so go ahead and round this thing to the nearest tenths digit. So the first person who can type it in the question box gets a major shout out and some points which can be redeemed later for unspecified prizes. Okay, so, oh, we already have an answer. Okay, so someone has answered. Andrea, no. Keep answering. The person, no points for getting it wrong, but 10 points for getting it right. We have a winner. Nope, wrong. Yes, we have one winner, finally. Okay, Silvani is the first winner. Thank you, Silvani. Silvani correctly said it is 7,422.8. Why? A lot of you got that wrong. One of you got it insanely wrong. One of you completely altered these numbers, which is amazing. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know who you are. Okay. The nearest tenths digit. Where is the tenths digit? This is the tenths digit. Okay. So this is the units digit. This is the units digit right here. This is the tenths digit. That's the tenths digit. So now we are rounding to the nearest tenths digit. So you take the digit directly to the right of the tenths digit, which is this puppy, and if it's 5 or higher, then you round up. So you have 7,422.8. That is how you round that big puppy to the nearest tenths digit. Okay? Any questions? Okay, everyone who got it wrong has a very good excuse. Poor hearing, lol is a good excuse. Lol is acceptable, always in graduate school. Misheard, good, okay, good. All right, so That was practice, not a real question. We're just practicing, we're just shooting the breeze there. Just like, you know, just like warming up. So let's try some more practice. Okay, go ahead and try this one on your own. I'm gonna go away, not for real, but like my picture's gonna go away for like a minute. I'm gonna give you a minute and a half, and then I'm gonna come back. All right, go. Okay, everybody, I'm back. Several of you have given me a sneak peek of your answers. One of you is correct, even, but the rest of you now have to answer the question. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to open a poll, and you're going to vote. This is not American rules where you have the privilege to vote. This is Australian rules where it's mandatory voting. You have to vote. Legally, you have to vote. So I'm going to open a poll, and everyone has to vote. I actually don't know which one of you is voting, so it's all kind of anonymous. So extra incentive to vote. But you have to please vote. Question 1, pick your answer, and get ready in 3, 2, 1, go for it. Okay, you all voted, which is great. I appreciate it. And we have a tie, which means that 50% of you are correct, and 50% of you are totally wrong. Not even a little bit right, like all 100%, like totally wrong. But 50% of you are correct, which is great. That is great news. So let's figure out which 50% it is. Is it the B's or is it the D's? Well, let's check it out. If C is this thing, so C is 0.00465, and C umlaut is the decimal obtained by rounding C to the nearest thousandth. Which one is thousandth? Well, this is tenth. Whoops. This is tenth. This is hundredth, and this is thousandth. That one right there, that one is the thousandth. So if you round it to the nearest thousandth, you have to take the digit directly to the right of it, and if it's 5 or up, then you have to round up. So that's C umlaut right there. So what's the value of C minus C umlaut? Okay, so now we have to subtract this puppy. So we have 465 minus 500, basically. So that's 0.35 going on, and it's negative. So that means it's negative is B. So D is totally wrong. Like, there's nothing about D that is correct. I don't know how you would get it unless you. I really don't know how you get it. So I guess you'd put C umlaut on top, and then forget that 500 minus 465 is 35, and say that's 45 instead. But that's not correct. So, a couple things about this. Number one, congratulations to those of you who picked B. Excellent job. Number two, for those of you who picked D, just the first one, we got plenty more. But when you miss a question, it's a good thing, because then you know what to study as you're going forward. So this is what I want you to do every time you miss a question. There are 4 things you have to do, and I'm going to write them on this screen. The first thing is do it over. Okay? Notice I did not say the first thing is read the answer or read the explanation. If you read the explanation and then you say, oh yeah, I got it, and then you move on, you are fooling yourself, and you're doing yourself a major disservice, because guess what? You don't got it. You definitely do not have it after reading the answer, after reading the explanation. If you had gotten it, you would have gotten it the first time you did it, but you didn't do that. So don't read the explanation and move on. You don't understand it yet. Do it over, and then if you get it right, then you have the satisfaction of having done it, having accomplished something, you got it right, and then you can move on. If you do it over and you still miss it, or you still can't get it in 2 minutes, then read the explanation. Whoops. And then do it over. Because I want the last time you see a problem to be the time you solve it. Okay? I want you to have the experience of solving every question you come into contact with. Okay? 3, make a spreadsheet and categorize what kind of problem it was. Apologies for my abysmal handwriting. So what kind of problem was that? Well, that's a decimal problem. Okay, so you need to practice your decimals if you missed that. And finally, this is the 4th thing you have to do for every wrong answer you get. You have to categorize why you missed it. Categorize what kind of problem it was and categorize why you missed it. That is the most important part. And that's hard. Sometimes it's hard to know why did you miss it. Here's one thing you can never say. You can never say you missed it because of a careless mistake. When you say, oops, careless mistake, I just missed it, I just forgot, oopsie, we'll never do that again, you're excusing the actual computation that happened in your head. And you're not learning from it. So if you make a mistake, if you miss a question, figure out why you missed it, own up to it, put it on the spreadsheet, and see if there's a pattern. Because usually, if you make a mistake in a certain way, you're probably going to make a mistake in that exact way again on a different question. So own up to how you're making those mistakes and learn from them. Don't dismiss things as careless mistakes. No such thing. Okay? Also, no such thing as a bad test taker. No such thing as a good test taker. Just people who've learned it and people who haven't yet had the chance to learn it and do really well on it. I did not pop out of the womb knowing how to do these problems. I promise you. You can ask my mom. So, answer is B. Any questions on example 1? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to move on. Here we go. All right. This one is brutally hard. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for you. So here's how you do this one. Quantity A says the number 1. Quantity B says this impossibly very difficult mathy thing. And then A, B, C, D, A is always A is greater, B is always B is greater, C says these two things are the same, they're equal to each other, and D says who knows? Well, N is the decimal form of the fraction 1/22. Yikes. Yikes. Well, I think you have a calculator on the GMAT, and the GRE, and even if you didn't have the calculator on the GRE, you could figure out what 1/22 is, because 1/11 is 0.09090909. And this you should know. You should know 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, 1/8, 1/9, 1/10, and 1/11. You should know that it's 0.5, 0.33, 0.25, 0.2, 0.16, 0.142, 0.125, 0.11, 0.1, and 0.09. Okay? These things you should know. These are a couple of things that you actually have to memorize. Okay? Things you need to memorize. Okay. So if 1/11 is that thing, well then what's 1/22? Well, 1/22 is 1/11 divided by 2. So I'm just going to divide this whole thing by 2. Okay, well, that seems hard. But I'll tell you what, I bet I can break it into little parts. So it's dividing 0.0, and then this is 90, 90, 90, 90. So instead of 0.0, 90, 90, 90, 90, it's 0.045, 45, 45, 45, 45, 45, etc. So the first digit to the right of the decimal is a 0. The second digit is a 4. The third digit is a 5. The fourth digit is a 4. The fifth digit is a 5. The sixth digit is a 4. The seventh digit is a 5. Oh, I get it. So every even digit to the right of the decimal is a 4. So that means this is a 4. So which is bigger, 1 or 4? 4 is bigger. So it's B. Okay? Any questions on that? Any questions? No questions? Even from Callie? No questions? Okay. All right. I'll move on. Oh, one person has a question. Callie says, that was confusing. All right, so I have a question. What was confusing about it? What was hard about it? Was it my explanation? Was it the problem? Okay, so putting it back up. So I'm going to break it down into steps. So this is a quantitative comparison where our job is to figure out which is bigger, A column or B column. I know what A column is. It's just 1. So the problem is I have to figure out the 28th digit to the right of the decimal point. Yikes. Okay, so I need to know what 1/22 is. Uh-oh. I don't know what 1/22 is. So I can use my calculator. I can do that. I can use the calculator. It's in the upper right corner. It should be in the upper right corner of the screen on the GRE, or I can use logic. Okay, what do I know? I don't know 1/22 by heart, but I do know that 1/11 is 0.09090. And these repeat. 09, 09, 09, 09. Got it. Well, 1/22 looks a lot like 1/11 times 1/2, which is like 1/11 divided by 2. Right? So I divide this by 2, and I divide this by 2. So now on the left-hand side I have 1/22, and on the right-hand side I have, what am I doing here? I divide this whole thing by 2. Well, 0.09090, that's going to be 0.045454545, right? Because each one of these, what's 90 divided by 2? 45, right? And then what's another 90 divided by 2? 45. And then what's 0 divided by 2? 0. So 0.045454545. And now I have to get the 28th digit. Yikes. So the first digit to the right of the decimal is 0. And then the second digit to the right is 4. And then the third digit is 5. And then the fourth digit is 4. Oh, so every second digit, every even digit is 4. So 4, it's 4 against 1. So which is bigger? 4 is bigger. So B is greater. And that's why it's bigger. Does that make sense? Questions? Any questions? Where did I start counting the decimal? Well, the digit to the right of the decimal point. So what's the digit to the right of the decimal point? This is the digit to the right of the decimal point, the 0. That's the first digit to the right of the decimal point. Note how it doesn't really matter, because if you picked 5, 5 is still bigger than 1. So you would still get B. Okay. Yeah, Whitney saw it. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Great. Looks like we're good. Can I erase? Am I okay? Okay. All right. Now let's do PEMDAS. This is order of operations, okay? A lot of you remember this from high school or middle school. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. PEMDAS is the order of operations. Every single problem you ever see, you have to do it in this order. First, the stuff in the parentheses. Then the exponents. Then multiplication or division. Then addition, subtraction. So it's really 4 things. Parentheses, exponents, MD, and AS. And that is how PEMDAS works. So in the example, what do you do first? The first thing you do is, what do you think? Type it in. What's the first thing I do? Add 1 and 5. Thank you, Callie. Callie got it. She nailed it. Add the 1 and the 5. So first thing is 2 times 6 squared divided by 12 plus 9 minus 8. Now what? Now what do I do? Whoop. Now what? Square 6. Andrea got it. Thank you, Andrea. All right, Andrea. So you square the 6. Sorry, I think it's shaking here. All right, so you square the 6, so now you have 2 times 36 divided by 12 plus 9 minus 8. Now what do you do? Multiplication, division. Multiply 36 and 2. That's good. You could also divide both by 12 and then multiply them. It doesn't matter what order you do the multiplication and division in, as long as you do multiplication division as the next step. So 2 times 36 is 72, and then you divide that by 12, and you get 6. So now I have 6 plus 9 minus 8. Now what do? You can either, it doesn't matter what order you do these two things in, you can either do 6 plus 9 minus 8, or you can do 9 minus 8, and then add 6. Whatever you do, you're going to get 7, and that's the answer. Okay? Awesome. Thank you, Silvani. Great, great, great stuff. Okay. PEMDAS. So, couple things about exponents and roots. So, whenever you are squaring something, you are going to end up with a positive number. So, whether you have a 2 squared or a negative 2 squared, you're going to end up with a positive number. Also, if you have if you have any kind of fraction, like 2/5, actually that was a poor selection. How about 1/2? That'll be 1/16. Or negative 1/2, that'll also be 1/16. So anytime you raise a number to an even exponent, it's going to end up as a positive number. Now for odd exponents, it might end up as a positive number, or it might not be a positive number. Right? Because negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, this is positive 4, but positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So odd exponents, the result is going to be the same. It's going to have the same sign as the original number. Okay, same sign as x. Okay, great. Okay, here are your exponent rules. This is a little convoluted, so I'm going to give you over here on the left-hand side your 5 exponent rules. They're only, well, there's set. I'm going to give you all 7 exponent rules. There's 7 exponent rules, and you must memorize these. No excuses. First exponent rule: x to the a, x to the b equals x to the a plus b. Okay? That's the same thing as this. Same thing. Next, x to the a divided by x to the b equals x to the a minus b. Okay? So that's your second one. Now you have x to the a times a free floater exponent b, x to the ab. That is the only time you can multiply exponents, is when you have a free floater here not attached to a base. So by now, you know that this is a base and this is an exponent. Base, exponent. So if you have an exponent here, free floater exponent with no base, you get to multiply it times the exponent that is attached to the base. Okay, so x to the a to the b equals x to the ab. Okay, now we have some other special ones. X to the a times y to the a equals xy to the a. And we have x to the a divided by y to the a equals x over y to the a. Okay? So those are your main 5. You also have x to the 0 equals 1. That's just a fun fact. You know it. And x to the negative 1 equals 1 over x. Okay? So anytime you have x to the negative something, you 1 over it as soon as possible. So if you have a to the negative n, you 1 over a to the n. Or x to the negative 3/2, you 1 over x to the 3/2. Okay? As soon as you see a negative exponent, you 1 over that thing. That's what you got to do. Okay. Any questions? The 4th one and the 5th one. Okay, so the 4th one here says if you have 2 squared times 3 squared, that's 2 times 3 squared, which is kind of a miracle if you think about it. 4 times 9 equals 6 squared. Yeah, that's right. That works. That's a little nutty, huh? That's a little crazy, I think. So that's what the fourth one says, is if you have the same exponent and different bases, you can multiply the bases. And keep that exponent up there. And then the fifth one just says if you have 2 squared over 3 squared, that's the same as 2/3 squared. That's it. That's all that means. Okay? Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. Jin, what do you think, Jin? Does that make sense? You good with rule 4? Okay, cool. All right. Let's move along. All right, go ahead and try this one on your own. I'm going to disappear again, not for real, but like a little leprechaun, just going to go away for a little bit. I'll be back in 1 minute and 40 seconds. Go. Okay, I'm coming back. Let's get a sense of what we're dealing with here. Let's see how many of you got this moderately difficult question. Okay. I'm going to open the poll, lock in your answer. Open the poll in 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay. Another 50-50 split. So half of you are just killing it. Half of you are bored. Half of you want to teach this class, and the other half of you are you're like that scene in Castaway where he's like drowning and like the volleyball's floating away. It's like everything's getting like dimmer, just a little dimmer. So anyway, volleyball people, come back to me. We're going to teach you this, and you're going to start getting the questions correct over and over again. All right, so let's talk about this. First of all, some of you are asking questions here. So questions. You're just some of you are smarty pants. You're just telling me you got the answer correct. So I'm very proud of you, all of you correct answer people, either B or C people. Let's see. Wish I had more expressive eyebrows. It would be even more hilarious indicator. All right, so let's see what we have here. So we have 168 on the bottom and all these other numbers on the top. All right, well, first of all, you got to break down 168, right? You got to break it down. And you're going to break it down into stuff that's on top, right? Because these things are going to cancel. These things are going to cancel like crazy. Obviously, that's what's going to happen. So 168, what does that reduce to? Well, let's try to figure out what the prime factors, because these are all, well, this isn't prime. We're going to deal with that in a second. But what prime factorizing large numbers is a key skill on the GRE. So this is 2 times 84. And 84 is 2 times 42. And that's 2 times 21. 21. And that's 3 times 7. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3 2s, and then a 3 and a 7. So here we have, oh, and one other thing. 6, by the way, is a 2 and a 3. So here's what we have. We have 2 times 3 to the third times 7 to the fourth times 2 to the sixth. And on the bottom, we have 2 to the 3 times 3 times 7 all to the third. Okay, now we got some big-time free floatering going on. So here we have a free floater situation here in sector 1. So on top we have 2 to the third times 3 to the third. Aha. There we go. Times 7 to the fourth times 2 to the sixth. I'm going to put 2 to the sixth over here just to illustrate what's going to happen. And then on the bottom we have another free floatery thing, so you distribute this exponent in. So we got 2 to the ninth times 3 to the third times 7 to the third. Aha! Well, guess what? 2 to the sixth times 2 to the third is 2 to the sixth plus 3, which is 2 to the ninth. So we have 2 to the ninth on top and 2 to the ninth on the bottom, and those cancel out. And we have 3 to the third on top and 3 to the third on bottom, and those cancel out. And we have 7 to the fourth divided by 7 to the third. Aha. Well, what do? 7 to the 4 minus 3. And that's 7 to the 1, and that is answer choice B. So excellent job, those of you who got B, round of applause. Very well done. Those of you who got C, no, it's not right. So questions on that. Let's see. What questions do you have? Everyone is bragging about getting it right. Congratulations to all of those who got it right. Congratulations, B people. I'm very, very proud. I couldn't be proud. I couldn't be prouder even if I tried. Those of you who got B. And now the sad faces are coming in. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even know who got it right and who got it wrong, but now I do. No, listen, no public shaming. Everything. I'm on your team. None of what you do in class counts on your real GRE. I do not report it to grad schools. This is your time for learning, and missing problems in practice helps you get problems correct in the long run. So don't worry if you admitted that you got it wrong. I'm on your side. Okay, other questions? Okay, great. Let's hustle along. Okay. All right. Well, how about this? I'll do this one with you. So let's do this one together. X is a negative integer. Okay, great, a negative integer. So X could be -1, or it could be like -4. All right? So now we have to decide, is 2 to the x minus 1 bigger, or is 3 to the x bigger? Well, I don't know, but let me try out some things. So if it's 2 to the -1 minus 1 against 3 to the -1, then it's 2 to the -2 versus 3 to the negative 1. So then it's 1 over 2 squared, which is 1/4, versus 1/3. So which is bigger, 1/4 or 1/3? Which is bigger? Bigger. Like a bigger thing. Like, would you rather have 1/4 of a pizza or 1/3 of a pizza? Bigger. Would you rather have 1/3 of a pizza? So, so that's bigger. Okay. So now let's test -4. So 2 to the -4 minus 1 versus 3 to the -4. So now we have 2 to the -5 and 3 to the -4. So 2 to the -5 is 1 over 2 to the 5th. And this is 1 over 3 to the 4th. So 1 over 3 to the 4th is 1/81st. Okay, and then 1 over 2 to the 5 is 1 over 32. Which is bigger, 1/32nd or 1/81st? Which is bigger? You'd rather have 1/32nd, right? Interesting. So if you use -1, B is bigger. If you use -4, A is bigger. So given that, you can't tell if A is bigger or B is bigger. So it's D is the answer. The relationship cannot be determined from what's given. Okay, so you got to test two different numbers. You notice that I knew what 2 to the 5th was right away, and I knew what 3 to the 4th was right away. That it helps if you know that a few things, a few common exponents very quickly. Like if you know 6 squared very quickly, you're going to do better. It's just it's something you should learn. Do you need to know 6 to the 3rd? You don't really need to know it. It's helpful, but like the things you need to know you need to know 1 through 15 squared. Sorry, let me write this out. 1 through 15 squared. You need to know 1 through 5 cubed. You need to know 1 through 4 to the 4th. And then 1 through 3 to the 5th, and then you need to know 2 to the 6th. Okay, if you know that, you're in good shape. Okay? So I'll give you a chance to just write that down. 1 through 15 squared, 1 through 5 cubed, 1 through 4 to the 4th power, 1 through 3 to the 5th, and 2 to the 6th. Those are things you need to know. So if I said, what's 4 to the 4th? You should say, oh, well, 4 squared is 16, so 4 to the 4th is 256. That will help you. Okay. All right, let's move along. Oh, wait, someone has a question. Question is lol. Lol, 1/3. Good, okay. You can lol at me anytime. Lol it just puts me in a better mood. I'm just happier when you lol. Who isn't? Okay. Will work for lols. That's not true, but I like lols. Okay, so roots as exponents. Okay. Fun fact, when you square root something, so when you square root 4, that's the same thing as 4 to the 1/2. Why? Because there's a little tiny 2 on this ledge. It's invisible, but it's there. So if you cubed root 8, that's the same as 8 to the 1/3. You getting the picture here? If you is this possible? Cubed root 8 squared. That's the same as 8 to the 2/3. Okay, so the numerator is just a regular exponent, and the denominator is you're taking the denominator root of the thing. So what is the 8 to the 2/3? Well, 8 squared is 64, right? And then the cubed root of 64 is something times something times something is 64. I bet it's 4. I bet that's what it is, because that's what it is. Okay. You would know that if you knew that 4 cubed is 64. So again, this is why you need to know the things that I mentioned on the previous slide. Okay. All right, go ahead and try this one on your own. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to go away for 2 minutes starting right now. Okay, coming back. Okay, I can feel Callie sweating. Don't sweat, Callie. It's going to be fine. Jin, I know you have this one. I know you have it. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to open the poll in 3, 2, 1. Go for it. Okay. All right. 33% of you nailed it. And then 67% of you not so much. But as I suspected, Jin nailed it. Jin, you are a superstar. I knew you had it. I knew you had it in you. All right. So we are going to do the Jin method and drink until we get this answer right. Nope, that's the GIN method. And Jin is spelled with the J. Making a lol. Okay, enough dad jokes. We're going to do Y is the answer B. Why? Well, I'll tell you what, you could use 1/2 as just a number that you pick. But that's actually going to be tough because doing the square root of 1/2 is hard. So here's the number I'm going to use because we're doing all of these roots. We are going to use 1/4. Watch what happens when we use 1/4. All right, so for A, what's the square root of 1/4? It's 1/2. Okay, so that's what we have for 1/2. And we're looking for the minimum value. B, what's 1/4? Oops, 1/4 times 1/4. That's 1/16. All right, so A is gone because B is smaller than A. How about C? We have 1/4 to the negative 1/2. Wow, so 1 over the square root of 1/4. So what's that? That's 1 over 1/2. Oh, so C is actually 2. So 1/16 is definitely less than 2. So there goes that. How about D? Well, D says 1/4 to the 3/2. Okay, so we're going to square root 1/4 cubed. Well, you're going to square root, remember 4 to the 3, that's 64, so 1/64. So square rooting that is 1/8. So which is smaller, 1/8 or 1/16? Which is smaller? No, smaller, smaller. 1/8 or 1/16? Would you rather have, if you're on a diet, would you rather have 1/8 of a pizza or 1/16 of a pizza? Smaller. We want 1/16. So B still wins. There goes D. And then E is 1/4. Which is smaller, 1/16 or 1/4? 1/16, and that's the answer. That's it. So quick arithmetic and smart number picking. If you pick a hard number, like 7/8 or like 0.8, your life is going to be miserable. Don't make your life miserable. Don't do it. Be happy. Choose 1/4. Choose 1/4. If you chose something else, as I did when I first did this problem, I chose 1/2, and my life sucked. I immediately saw that I was going to have to square root it, and I was going to have to do all these things to it. So I chose a slightly easier number, the first number that I could think of between 0 and 1 that I could easily take the square root of, and that was 1/4. And then my life was great. That's it. Make your life easy. Any questions? Are there any other better choices to keep life easy? Well, you're square rooting things a lot, and P has to be between 0 and 1. So I would recommend that you choose something that can be easily square rooted. So you could choose 1/9. You could choose 1/16. The problem with 1/16 is then look what's going to happen when you have to do D. You have to do 16 to the 3rd. That's going to be awful. It's going to be really, really nasty. And even 1/9, you would have to do 9 to the 3rd, which is tough. So 1/4 is probably the best one. You can do it with other things, but it's the fastest to choose something that can be easily square rooted. Easily square rooted. Okay? And how do you know that it's 1/4? You just got to pick a number. You just got to pick a number. You be bold. Be creative. Pick some things. Okay? All right. Any questions? All right. Moving along here. Equations with the same bases. If the bases match, the exponents will also match. So 7 to the 3x minus 5 equals 7 to the 4x. That means that you can set the exponents equal to each other. And then you get x equals -5. That's it. Okay. GMAT often expects you to use this technique along with other exponent rules to get all terms of an equation into the same base. So in the top example here, 3 to the -4x equals 81. So 3 to the -4x equals 3 to the 4. Great, so -4x equals 4. X equals -1. And on the bottom, you have 2 squared to the x over 2 to the 5th equals 2 cubed to the 3rd. And then you simplify that a little bit, and you have 2 to the 2x divided by 2 to the 5 equals 2 to the 9th. And then you cross, and then you multiply both sides by 2 to the 5th. And then this cancels, and you have 2 to the 2x equals 2 to the 14th, and 2x equals 14, and x equals 7. that's it. Okay, I've done exponents for a long time, like my whole life, so I'm faster at it. But I'm not using any like special trick. You use the same 7 exponent rules that you use for everything. If you memorize those 7 exponent rules, and you really, 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 really know them, backwards and forwards, they cannot fool you. No matter what they throw at you, you will be able to handle any exponent problem if you know the rules. You must know the rules. You got to know the exponent rules. You just have to know them. Okay? Okay, last problem for today. Go ahead and do this one right now, and I will go away for 1 minute and 40 seconds. Go. Okay, we're coming back. Jen, I don't know if you have this one, but I think Andrea has this one. I'm pretty sure Andrea has this one nailed. Callie, don't worry. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. All right, so here we go. We're gonna open the poll in 3, 2, 1. Go for it. Okay. Wow, that is some diversity. Okay. All right. 33% of you correct. 67% of you not correct. Let's figure out how to do this one. Okay. Yeah, only 7 exponent rules. I'm not going to use anything else fancy. Here we go. 4 to the 12. Okay, so 4 could be 4, but given that we have 2 on the other side, I think I want this to be 2. Well, 2 what? It has to be 2 squared inside to the 12. Okay, so that's exponent rule number 3, where I have a free base here, free floater. So 2 squared to the 12 is going to be 2 to the 24. Got it? So 4 to the 12 becomes 2 to the 24. That makes sense? Times 3 to the 23. So that's what's on the left-hand side. Now on the right-hand side, we have 2, and we have a 2 and a 3 here. Right? We have a 2 and a 3. Fascinating. Okay, so, and then all that to the z, and we got a free floater there. So we have 2 to the 1 times 2 to the z times 3 to the z. Oh boy. So that's what's on the right-hand side, and this is what's on the left-hand side. Yikes. I wonder if we can make the left-hand side look more like the right-hand side. I bet we can if we pull out a 2. So let's pull out a 2, and we get 2 to the 1 times 2 to the 23 times 3 to the 23 equals 2 to the 1 times 2 to the z times 3 to the z. Guess what z is? Bing, 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 bing. It's A. Those of you who got A, very well done. Congratulations. I genuflect. I bow to your greatness. I'm impressed. To the rest of you, what are your questions? Jin nailed it. I was wrong. Jin, I'm sorry for doubting you. I can't believe I doubted you. Crystal, excellent job. For those of you who are missing it, yes, the only thing is the 7 rules. People who are getting it, they know the 7 rules by heart, and when something doesn't look the same on the left side as the right side, you just have to be creative. It's a test of creativity. What else could this be? How else could I manipulate this, this left-hand side? It looks like 2 to the 24 times 3 to the 23. You know what? I know that 2 to the 24 equals 2 to the 1 times 2 to the 23. That's the first rule. Okay, so I can make 2 to the 24 equal to 2 to the 1 times 2 to the 23, and that's what I did. That's what I did at the end. And that made the whole thing easy. But you just have to know rule number 1 cold, because you have to see 2 to the 24, and you have to be like, oh, well, it could be 2 to the 24, but it could also be 2 to the 1 times 2 to the 23. Got it? So for the person who said, what happened? One of you literally wrote, what happened? Which is funny. It was great. So it's just the same thing that happens on every exponent problem. You're using the 7 rules in some sort of combination. That's it. I'm not doing anything else except using the 7 rules. Okay. One of you says, I feel that person. I hope not literally. And if you are feeling that person, I hope that person is consenting to it. I just hope it's a consensual thing. Anyway, good, very good. I'm very proud of you. Good job for those of you who got it right. For those of you who didn't, I hope you understand it a little bit better. Let's move on. Let's finish out the math, and let's do a verbal lesson. So let me just show you how to do this last one. So again, the same rules as always. Look at this, 3 to the 22 times 3 to the 21. Gosh, that looks tough, but you know what? I bet we can take something out. I bet we can factor out a 3. Oh, I see what's happening. Interesting. So on top, I'm going to factor out 3 to the 21, and then I get 3 to the 1 minus 1. And on the bottom, I have 3. Cool. So 3 to the 1. So on top, I now have 3 to the 21 divided by 3 to the 1, and then times 2. Right? Because 3 to the 1 minus 1. Aha. 3 to the 21 divided by 3 to the 1 is 3 to the 21 minus 3 to the, sorry, 3 is 3 to the 21 minus 1. And so that's 3 to the 20th. And I got 2 of them. And over here, I have 2 3 to the 20ths. 2 3 to the 20ths. So guess what? They're the exact same. I know. It blew my mind too. I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. What are your questions? So what happened to the 3 to the 22? Well, look at what I did here. So I have 3 to the 21 times 3 to the 1. So I saw 3 to the 22, and I said it could be 3 to the 22, or it could be 3 to the 1 times 3 to the 21. And if it's 3 to the 1 times 3 to the 21, then I have something in common. This one, the first term, 3 to the 22, has something in common with 3 to the 21. It has the 3 to the 21. And then you can just pull that out. You can factor it out. 3 to the 21 times 3 to the 1, minus 1. Does that make sense? Okay, the person who said what happened is sad. I'm really sorry to that person. I'm not going to name you. I just thought it was a funny way of phrasing the question. It's all. It's not. Not personal. It's not personal. Okay. All right. We're going to move on for time's sake, and that is going to do it for arithmetic. That's the end of arithmetic. For those of you who need to study your exponents, there are only 7 rules. You got to know the 7 rules. Got to know them. Okay, so review these slides, review those rules, review your notes, and get better and better and better. Here's your homework. We're going to skip the in-class practice. Your homework is the Ready For sets, arithmetic sets 1 through 3, and the official guide to the GRE homework problem-solving section, page 150, number 6, page 335. You can read the bottom of the screen. Okay, so the last slide on the Quant lesson, slide 25, do the official GRE guide homework. Those questions are going to be the most similar to the real GRE because they're written by the same people. Okay, so that is it for Quant. Let me answer your final questions. Where did the 2 come from? Okay, let me back up to the 2. Where did the 2 come from? Okay, so okay, so where did the 2 come from? I assume you mean on the left-hand side. So we get 3 to the 21 times 3 to the 1 minus 1 over 3 to the 1. What's 3 to the 1 minus 1? What's 3 minus 1? It's 2. So we have 3 to the 21 divided by 3 to the 1. And so that ends up being 3 to the 20th times 2. That's what's on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we have this plus this. So the way when I'm adding gigantic numbers, 3 times 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 3 plus 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, all that, I just say apple plus apple. If I have 1 apple and I add another apple, I got 2 apples. That's it, apple plus apple. Okay? Does that help? Okay, Crystal's got it. All right. That is it for Quant. Let's do the verbal. Okay. Oops. We're at the very end of the verbal section here. Close your eyes, avert your gaze. Okay. Reading comprehension, main idea questions. Here is what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to talk about reading comprehension passages. We're going to talk about main idea questions, strategies, wrong answer types. The reading comprehension on the GRE is not designed to be entertaining. It is not designed to be informative. It is not designed to retain your interest. It is actually designed to make you fall asleep and want to kill yourself. Maybe in that order, maybe in the reverse order. But the point of the reading comprehension is to be as boring as possible and to use as much jargon as they can possibly fit in one screen. If it were easy, then everyone would get it right and it wouldn't be a good standardized test question. The whole point of the standardized test is to differentiate otherwise very smart people into people who do okay and people who do well and people who do really well. And the way they do that is they give you increasingly difficult reading passages. Your job is to make it interesting. And I'm going to show you how to make absolutely any reading passage super interesting. Okay, so here we go. We are going to learn how it works. We're going to be able to differentiate between different passages, and we're going to develop a method, a real method. Okay, one of the most confusing parts of the reading comp section is the 3 different question types that they can ask you on the reading comp section. So they can ask you to select one answer choice. They can ask you to select one or more answer choices, or they can ask you to click on a certain sentence in the passage and that stuff. Once you get used to it, it's going to get easier and easier. So a GRE reading passage presents an overwhelming amount of information that is usually boring. It may make conclusions or analyses based on the information. So the passage may be an argument as opposed to expository or just the facts. It may present multiple points of view, and it will be written in a difficult, confusing, maddening, infuriating, sleep-inducing sort of way that is meant to mimic graduate-level academic texts. That is a fact. Actually, that's a really good training for what you will do in graduate school. Okay. Outside knowledge of GRE topics actually hurts you. So on my, this didn't happen on the GRE. So I took the GMAT a bunch of times, and on the GMAT, I got my last ever GMAT. I had 4 questions on climate change, and at the time I was a climate negotiator at the State Department working on the International Climate Treaty, and I had to forget everything that I ever learned to answer these questions correctly. Because if you know stuff outside of the test and you import that knowledge into the test, you're going to miss the question. The question is designed so that if you know nothing, like Jon Snow, if you know nothing of the topic, you can still get it right. You're supposed to get it right. So that is that's the point of each question. You don't need to know anything on the outside. Okay, Kuiper Belt, blah blah blah. Okay. How to read passages. Many GRE reading passages have a main idea question attached. You can prepare for these as you're reading. So while you're reading, aim to understand the passage well enough so that you can briefly recap its main points. You don't need to remember every detail. It helps to come up with your own mental summary of the passage's main idea. And if you can come up with a map of the passage, that also helps. So these are sort of vague, general sort of strategies. They work. Here's my rule about GRE reading. Use whatever strategy you want as long as you get the answers 100% correct. If you use a strategy and you're not getting the answers 100% correct, you have to use my strategy or the Ready For strategy or any other strategy, but you can't use the strategy you have. I'm going to teach both the Ready For strategy and the Eric Maltzer strategy, which is slightly different, in the next half hour, so pay attention. Okay, Intro to Reading Comprehension details. Even if reading the passage takes longer, work at getting a grasp of what it is about overall, and then work at speed. Rather you get the gist of it first, even if you're doing it more slowly, and then speed up, as opposed to go at pace and get it wrong. So while you're practicing, I want you to take as much time as you need during practice to get it right. Okay? That's the rule. What about all the detail questions? You don't need to remember all the details. You can go back to it as long as you remember kind of where it was in the passage. That is the most effective way to tackle the detail questions. Don't worry about getting every detail correct your first time through. All right, you'll see 10 passages of varying lengths. Most of them are just a few paragraphs long. Passages will have 1 to 5 questions. They cover humanities, science, and social sciences. You're going to see a ton of hard science because it's the hardest thing for most people to do. So let me read the shorter passage as I would read it on the GRE, in real life. Okay, shorter passage says, in recent years, many pet parakeets have died. Oh, Pollywanna dead. Pollywanna another life. Polly's sad. Many pet parakeets have died after developing seizures. Oh, it's a terrible way to go. And virtually all had unusually high levels of zinc. Maybe they were poisoned. Pollywanna poison. But virtually all had unusually high levels of zinc, which can cause seizure disorders in their bloodstream. So this is not a properly constructed sentence, but basically, first sentence is saying Colonel Mustard with the zinc in the bird cage killed the parakeet. That is bad. So zinc, they're blaming the zinc, unusually high levels of zinc, for all of these seizures which kill parakeets. That's terrible. The only way these caged birds could have encountered this heavy metal was through their feed bowls, many of which have a galvanized coating largely composed of zinc. Ah, they're being fed the poison that seized them and killed them through their galvanized feed bowl coating. Oh, terrible. Since heavy metal exposure only causes permanent damage over an extended period of time, a recall of zinc-coated feed bowls should dramatically reduce the frequency of premature death among pet parakeets. What? What is going on? You're saying that these things, that parakeets are dying because they're eating the zinc from their feed bowls, and so now we got to recall all of these feed bowls right away, and that's going to reduce the frequency of premature deaths? You just said that it only causes permanent damage over an extended period of time. So these parrots are like doomed. They're already doomed. Like all the parrot's got to do is like eat like 1 more gram of zinc in its life, and it's gonna have a seizure. So, you know, it's already eaten like 80 kilograms of zinc. So we're calling that zinc-coated feed bowl. It's not gonna help. I mean, maybe help a little over time, but it's not gonna dramatically reduce the frequency of premature death. It's going to like slightly reduce it, and then over time it'll help. But like this is what the passage will do. It'll make a claim based on shaky evidence, and then it's up to you to say, what? I don't know about that. That conclusion doesn't completely jive with the premises. Okay? So you don't have to accept the conclusions as flawless. Sometimes you can cock your head and say, what? Okay. Say what? Okay, so passage main ideas. What is the main idea of this relatively short and simple passage? So what do you think? Go ahead and type it in the question box. What's the main idea here? Zinc causing death. True. Of birds. True. Why are the parakeets dying? Why are they dying? Zinc causes seizures, which cause death in parakeets. That is a more complete description. That's good. Yeah. What else is going on? What else is happening? What else is this paragraph saying? Zinc from bowls, and get those bowls. Get them. Get those bowls back. Get them back. Good job, Jim. Okay, removal of the bowls. Excellent job, Whitney. Well done, Whitney. Excellent. Okay. Perfect. And we are going to skip this longer passage for time's sake. Okay. In a main idea question, you're going to identify the author's primary purpose. Why in the world would the author write this passage in the first place? The correct answer will offer the best, not necessarily the ideal, but the best of the answer choices available, summary of the passage. It may also be the best description of the author's purpose. The best answer will apply to the whole passage, not just one part of it. Good. All right. Here is the ready for strategy. Read and map the passage. Read the main idea question If you understood the passage, you'll already have a sense of the correct answer, so you pre-phrase or like come up with your own best answer choice, which is number 4. Make a prediction of what the answer will be. Read all the answer choices, eliminate those that don't match your prediction, and between those that are left, choose the one that seems to fit the passage the best. That's the ready for strategy. Okay, it's a good strategy. Here's the Eric Maltzer strategy. Take as much time, I'm going to write it down. Take as much time as you need to rephrase the passage. So no more jargon. No more jargon. Okay, so I use plain English. I stop as frequently as I need to make sure that I understand the passage in plain English. Okay. How about number 2? The second thing I do is I take fun notes. Okay, so I write little notes on the side of, on my little laminated pad on what the passage is about, and that gives me a little bit of a map of sort of how the passage is structured. Number 3, I read the question stem and pre-phrase an answer. By pre-phrase, I mean I come up with my own answer choice, my own best answer choice. An answer. And number 4, I use the champion slot method. Champions slot method. Trademark to find the right answer. What is the champion slot method trademark? What is it? That's a good question. Well, the champion slot method trademark, patent pending, all rights reserved, is a method that makes it much, much easier and much, much faster to do a reading comprehension question. When you go to the optometrist or the ophthalmologist, they don't put a little machine in front of your eyes and then say, hey, can you see? Can you see now? How about now? Can you see? What they do is they put a machine in front of your eyes and they say, which is better, this one or this one? This one or this one? And they give you 2 different lenses to look through. When they say this one or this one, that's an easier question to answer. If they just asked you over and over again, can you see? Can you see? Or can you see? That's tough. That's hard. So most people, when they do the verbal section of the GRE, they look at an answer choice and they say, is this answer choice correct? Can you see? I don't know. It's hard. It's a hard question to answer. Maybe you can answer that. Maybe you can say, this answer is correct. I know it to be correct. And so, and then you're right. That's great. Or this answer is definitely not correct. I cannot see right now. Okay. All right. Well, good. Then for those answer choices where it is very clear, great. But the harder questions, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to need to choose between 2. You're going to need to make it easier on yourself. In my process, the champion slot method forces you to pick just between 2 answer choices. The best one so far and the challenger. The best one so far and the challenger. And you cannot move on to another answer choice until you have chosen between the 2 that are in competition. So let's go see what that looks like. Do you have these notes? You got them? I'm going to erase these notes right here. Erase. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to read the passage as slow as you like. Oh, not too slow. and then look at the answers. So I'm gonna give you a few minutes. I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna come back, and we're gonna do this. So ready and go. Okay, you're coming back. I'm going to open up the poll in 3, 2, 1. Let's see how you did. Two more people, please vote. Okay. Excellent job. 67% of you nailed it. That is correct. Good job. Okay. Very quickly, the author of this passage is mainly focused on exploring, determining, or resolving. So exploring various methodologies used to evaluate theories about the moon. First of all, it's really long and complicated. I don't think that's what's going on. He's just talking about maybe the moon came, maybe the moon is the way it is because of this, or maybe it's because of that. He's not exploring various methodologies. He's talking about different theories. And that's B. That's exactly what B is, exploring some theories about the moon's shape and formation. C, determining the extent to which. He's not determining anything. He's talking about a bunch of different possibilities. D, resolving a debate. I don't think he resolves the debate. He's even in the last sentence, he doesn't say this is definitely how it happened. And he's also not resolving a debate about the moon's shape. Prior to the formation of its craters, that's very specific and not at all what the main focus of the passage is. So for those of you who got B, excellent job. For those of you who did not, I hope it's a little more clear now, and if it is not, please do that problem over again. Okay, wrong answer types. Every question type has a set of common wrong answers that appear alongside the correct answers. They're particularly distracting and obvious in main idea questions. The ability to recognize common patterns in wrong answers can help you eliminate them with greater confidence. What do wrong answer choices look like? Well, there's a lack of direct support. They're out of scope. They answer the wrong question. They combine correct and incorrect information. They're also sometimes extreme. So if it says, the passage is like, well, maybe it was this, maybe it was that, and then one of the answer choices is the passage firmly determines. Well, firmly determining, I don't know about firmly determining. More like vaguely suggesting, maybe. As if, like if you see a very strongly worded answer choice and the passage was a little bit wishy-washy, just be very, very skeptical of that answer choice. Okay. All right, we're going to skip this one because it's super long, even though it is fascinating. I love this passage. Please do it at home. It explains why New York City subways are underground, which is amazing. But it's just an insane amount of words to answer one single question. So we are going to do example number 3 right now. Go ahead and take 2 minutes and go. Okay, we're going to come back and see if we can do this. So I'm going to open the poll in 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, excellent job, verbal folks. You are, or all folks, you're doing better at verbal. 2/3 of you nailed it, and 1/3 of you chose a suboptimal answer. So it is B. Why is it B? Because the author of the passage is primarily concerned with Is it contrasting the predominant styles of architecture of two eras in U.S. history? That seems very broad. So at the time, architecture, so it's talking about Victorian versus versus what? Versus the Prairie School, versus the more modern stuff. So is it broad, or is the passage primarily concerned with describing the characteristics of Frank Lloyd Wright's style? Well, the passage starts with Frank Lloyd Wright. We got Frank Lloyd Wright in the middle. Wright, however, introduced designs indigenous to the sweeping landscapes of the North American Midwest. And we have Wright at the end. Wright's work strove to harmonize interior and exterior spaces. It really does seem like the passage is about Frank Lloyd Wright, and it is. So it's not about styles of architecture in two eras. That would really, a passage that was primarily concerned with that would not talk about one architect all the way through. It would talk about this style was this, and that style was that, and it wouldn't mention someone really more than once. But Frank Lloyd Wright mentioned quite a lot in this passage. So the answer is B. Congratulations to those of you who got B. We have a question from Callie. Callie is just noting and gloating that she got it right, and I am proud of her and all of you who are getting it right. Excellent, excellent job, and it is fun to get questions right. Believe me. All right, so main idea, review of topics. We talked about reading comprehension passages. We talked about how to get a main idea question correct. We talked about the wrong answer types, and we talked about different strategies for attacking reading comprehension passages, the Ready For strategy and the Eric Maltzer patent pending strategy. There are more questions in the back here, example number 4, but we're going to skip that for now in example 5. Please do example 4 and 5 on your own at home. They're good practice. It will take you, 10 minutes to do examples 4 and 5, but they're good practice on longer passages, harder questions. Here are your takeaways. GRE reading comp passages and main idea questions are core to the GRE. All GRE reading comp passages are designed to mimic graduate level texts, but they follow a clear structure and can be attacked with a clear method. Main idea questions can be easily dealt with using the process of elimination, also called the champion slot method. Here's your homework, main idea and inference on the GRE Ready For app and the official GRE guide. You can read those pages at the bottom of slide 25. That's it for today. I do want to ask of you, if you enjoyed today and if you are kind of getting a sense of how much fun this is going to be and what kind of crazy faces I'm going to make all class long, tell a friend. It is not too late to sign up for this class or for other GRE classes or for GMAT classes. We are growing like crazy right now. I just started teaching with Elad. Elad, got in touch with me last month, and I have been teaching, 4 nights a week for him, and I know that they are starting classes that don't even involve me, all over the place. So, especially, it will be more fun to take this class with a friend, and I promise it will be just as entertaining, if not more. So, if you want to sign up a friend, contact Julie. I bet she can get you a discount off the main price, and I bet there is probably some sort of reward in it for you as well. So send an email to Julie. Julie will get on and offer her email. Sign up your friends. Get more people in. It is so much fun to teach this course when I have a bunch of you, but I think I'm going to kind of enjoy this class, whether it's just the few of you here, or whether it's a class of 15 or 20, because this is a very bright class, a very engaged class, and we are going to teach you every single thing you need to know to ace the GRE, to get absolutely everything right. So with that, I'll answer any other questions you have for the last couple minutes. Stefani wants to know what the answer is to the think you mean the previous question. Which one? Silvani, just type in which number you want for the previous question, and then I will respond privately so I don't ruin it for the rest of the class. Okay. She writes the New York question. Oh, yes. So the New York question, that's number 2. Is it this one? This one? Example 2B. Is that the one? Silvani? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to respond privately to Silvani. The rest of you are going to have to wait in suspense until you receive the explanations packet, which will have all of the answers in them. That's it, I think, for now. Let me just respond to Silvani here. And, yeah, we're going to wrap a little bit early here. Wait. All right, Silvani, I will send you a private note because the official answer to the New York question has been hidden even from me in the explanation key. So I've done this a couple times, but my answer key is outside. If I clicked on it, everyone would see the answer. So I will send you a private note after 10 p.m. Any other questions? Any other questions before we sign off? Okay. All right. Thank you all very, very much. Silvani, I'll send you a note on the New York question. And for the rest of you, have a wonderful evening. And I think I will see you all on Thursday night, hopefully with more friends. See you then. Bye, guys.